Okairi! Welcome back to my channel, Made Between the Pages. My name is Taylor, and today we're going to be doing my most anticipated releases for 2021. Now this is a brand new type of video for me. I don't have a NetGalley and I don't have any way to really research or be exposed to books before they're released. So this isn't a habit that I have, like to look up books before they're released. I typically hear about them via, BookTube or from authors that I already read if something is recommended to me by that author or by a friend who has similar tastes from me. But actually taking the time to research a book before it's released is not something that I typically do. So I was actually really excited to kind of take on this project for this video. All of these books are being released in 2021 or are projected to be released in 2021. Some of these I'm excited to read because they are installments in a series that I already love, but some of these I actually found through doing research for this video. So I looked up, release lists for 2021, and even though I don't know the author or, in some cases a lot about the premise, something about these books pulled me in. The first one is Jade Legacy by Fonda Lee. This should be a surprise to absolutely no one. I have her first two books, Jade City and Jade War, on my shelf behind me. And the Greenbone saga is going to be concluded next year. And I cannot wait to get my little paws on that book. For those of you who don't know, the Greenbone saga is an urban high fantasy with a little bit of sci-fi thrown in, where we follow two rival gangs in a city called Janloon that is East Asian inspired. In this world, Jade grants power, superpowers essentially. So hearing, advanced hearing, advanced senses, super strength, you name it, Jade provides it. But it also has a high cost. So it's kind of like a drug where if you take it and you don't have either the bloodline or the training to handle it, you can be left crippled and addicted to it as the same way that you can for a drug. Which leads to some really, really interesting dynamics between those who use it and those who sell it, and how it factors into the economy in this world. It's an amazing series. The second book, Jade War, really expanded the world to include a larger, broader perspective on how different countries interact with each other, not just different groups. So I cannot wait, and I'm also terrified to see where she goes in Jade Legacy, because Fonda Lee is not afraid to rip your heart out and throw it on the floor. Like, she does not care, which is part of why I love the series so much. So I am really excited to see the end of this, but I'm also terrified what she's going to do to the characters that I love, and to me personally. So we'll see how that goes. I couldn't find a projected month for release in 2021, so if anyone knows, let me know so I know when to kind of get excited for it. But all I know is that it's supposed to be released at some point in 2021. The next book that I'm super excited for is The Thorn of Emberlane by Scott Lynch. This book is the fourth book in the Gentleman Bastard series. This is the first book, The Lies of Locke Lamora, and behind me on my shelf I also have Red Seas Under Red Skies and The Republic of Thieves, the second and third book. The Thorn of Emberlane has been projected to be released many times and then pushed back countless times. So this book is kind of like a white elephant at this point. Is that the word? Is that what we call it? A white elephant? White whale? Whatever white animal means that it's hard to capture. But that one, at this point, I hope that Scott Lynch follows through and actually releases it this year. I would be over the moon if he did. I adore it, this series. So if that gets released, I will lose my shit. It's already pre-ordered, so whenever it comes out, it will be arriving ASAP. But this is about a lovable group of like rogues and thieves who specifically target the upper class. They run scams and perform heists on those who are rich and don't necessarily give it to the poor. So it's not, you know, a Robin Hood story, but it's a story about this group of thieves who start a long con and end up getting into some deeper shit than they expect. And the characters are amazing. The world building is so unique and engrossing. The very first part of this book, when you pick it up, it is kind of like it throws you in there, and you know, you just kind of have to flounder around for a minute before you get your footing, which is basically what Comore, the city that we're in, what Comore would do to you anyway. But if you kind of stick it out for those first couple chapters, the reward is amazing. So I cannot wait to see what happens to the characters as we continue forward. This series also has the best bromance ever, in my opinion, and I cannot wait to see those two characters just love on each other and get on each other's nerves even more in the fourth book. Aww. God damn. The next one here is going to be Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. I love the Nevernight series by Jay Kristoff. It is one of my favorite fantasy series of all time. I read it last year. Now I know that it's not everyone's taste, and Jay Kristoff's writing can drive some people up the wall. But for some people, like me, it is music to my ears, and I love it. It's pretentious, it's self-aware, it's sassy. It's my favorite. So I haven't read anything else by Jay Kristoff. So he's co-written a lot of things like the Illuminae Files and Aurora Rising, which I am interested in Aurora Rising. Not so much the Illuminae Files, but I haven't picked up anything else by him. But when I heard that he was writing an adult vampire novel, if I take what I know about him from the Nevernight series and apply that to a vampire novel, that's gonna be amazing. And I cannot wait to read about the brutality of that world. It's just gonna be so good. This is supposed to be released in September of 2021. Oh, I forgot to mention that the Thorn of Emberlane is supposed to be released in October of 2021, if he follows through. Another super anticipated book of mine is Sorrowland by River Solomon. Now, River Solomon has a couple other books out, but the only other book I've read by them is The Deep, and this book blew me away. It was 5 stars. I have mentioned it in many videos since I've read it, and this is definitely something that I'm going to be rereading in the future. And after this experience of their writing, I just knew I wanted to read more books by them. From what I know of Sorrowland, it is about a young female character, I believe, who is in a very strict religious environment, or brought up in a strict religious environment. Now, if you know me, I love when books handle religion critically, through a critical lens, or through a lens of discussion from different perspectives. So this already seems to hit that mark. And then this character runs away. I don't remember what the catalyst was in the synopsis, but the character ends up running away into the woods. And in the woods, this character ends up having a child. And in order to protect this child from the world of prejudice that surrounds it, the main character ends up becoming something of a monster. And it seems like this book explores the idea of intergenerational trauma, just like The Deep did, but also how religion and racism possibly intersect in America's history. Maybe not just America, but world history. And it seems to have a lot of different themes running through it. Now, typically I would be kind of hesitant to pick up a book that's shorter and tries to handle all of these different aspects. But from my experience reading The Deep, I know that River Solomon can handle that idea of taking all these different concepts and making them mesh so well in a really short format. So that doesn't put me off at all, and I'm really excited to pick this book up. I think it's going to break my heart, but I think I'm going to love it when it does. The next book is actually a thriller, and that is The Maidens by Alex Michaeldes. We know I can't say things on my channel. This book, and I'm anticipating this one because his previous book, The Silent Patient, was one of my favorite thrillers of the year. I don't talk about thrillers much on my channel because I tend to do them as audiobooks when I need a palate cleanser between fantasies or heavy-hitting contemporaries or sci-fi. So I don't really make them the focus of my channel, but I do thoroughly enjoy thrillers. And The Silent Patient, the twist at the end blew my mind. I was like, no. And I know some people really got it down and said that it wasn't so surprising. I was not one of those people. It blew me away. So after reading that book, I'm interested in other thrillers that he writes. And this one is also supposed to include the Greek myths or Greek mythology in the kind of reveal and in the story. And I love mythology, all types of mythology. Greek mythology is also awesome. So to add that on top of, an author that I really loved his previous work, I'm super excited to pick this one up. The Maidens is supposed to be coming out in June of 2021. Going forward, all of these books are ones that I found on 2020 release lists when I was doing research for this video. So it's authors that I don't know and books that I'd never heard of before doing research, but something about each of these pulled me in. The first one is The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Sudi. Now I didn't know this until I looked up the author after finding this book, but I think this author also read or wrote a series about nantoka sand, something about sand, not Throne of Sand, but something about it was like a desert fantasy, and I think that one is also really popular. So I didn't know that when I found this book, but this book is, the blurb said that it was about two women. One was a prisoner and one is, I don't remember what the second character was like. But those two women basically end up they're underdogs, and they end up having to take on the entire world, essentially. And it's supposed to be sapphic, and the cover looks amazing, like burn the world down to take it over. I'm just so intrigued by both the cover and the blurb that I read. I'm not doing a very good job of describing the blurb, but when I read it, I knew that I was gonna pick this up. The Jasmine Throne is supposed to come out in June of 2021. The next one I found is very much out of my usual genre. I believe it's literary fiction, and that is How the One-Armed Sister Sweeps Her House by Cherie Jones. Now, this one, I'm not gonna lie, the cover is what initially caught my attention because that cover is gorgeous. I mean, look at the colors in it. But after that, when I read the description, it said that it's a book that talks about the haves and the have-nots, so the idea of classism in a tropical environment. I don't remember exactly where the location of this book is, but it's one of those places where rich people go there to vacation, and then the people who actually live there are not well off. And it's a book that explores the difference between that and the haves and the have-nots. And that seems like something that I would really enjoy reading about because I love hard-hitting contemporary, and I like when books make me think. And I really think that this book is going to bring up a lot of good social commentary, and I really want to pick it up now. This one is supposed to come out in February of 2021. The next one is Son of the Storm by Suyi Davis Okingboa. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, I'm sure I butchered that. But I've never heard of this author before. And when I saw this cover, again, the cover really pulled me in. And this story is about forgotten magic or forbidden magic. And there was something in the blurb about shape-shifting magic. And I really enjoy shape-shifting stories, but I don't think I read enough of them, or there aren't enough of them in my radar. But I really love that type of magic. And this book, again, is about two people, I think this time two guys, bonding together to kind of be underdogs and take on the world, and rediscovering a magic that's forbidden. And I love that trope. I also looked on Goodreads for this, and pretty much all of the, NetGalley or, reviews before it comes out were all just singing its praises. So I am really excited to get to this one. This one should be released in May of 2021. The next book I found was Girlhood by Melissa Fabos. Again, haven't heard of this author before, but This seems very up my alley. It's a book that's supposed to bring up the ideas of how we raise women or girls in our current society. And it's a reflection on and a discussion about those things that we do in our culture. Again, I looked at the reviews of this book and they were all really good. And a lot of them were saying that they wish they had this book when they were young. And so I'm really intrigued to see what she has to say about the way that our culture raises girls, because best believe I've got some things to say. The next one is Hall of Smoke by Hannah M. Long. Now this one, I wish I remembered more. Oh, I do remember why I like this book. This one also includes the idea of mythology, or like petty gods, and I really enjoy when gods are not like omnipresent good beings. They have their own motivations and their own goals. And in this one, it's about a girl. Again, I think there's some forbidden magic involved, and she has a patron goddess that she, lives for. And this goddess apparently did some bad things in the past, and she gets kind of pulled in, the main character gets pulled in to this goddess's war with the other gods. And that just sounds so interesting and unique, and I really, really want to pick this one up. This one should be coming out in January of 2021. Okay, my battery is dying. Let's see if we can do this quick enough. The last two are The Black Coast by Mike Brooks and The Helm of Midnight by Marina J. Lostetter. Now, The Black Coast I don't know much about, but the cover is beautiful. And this one mentioned warrior dragons. Count me in. It's about, I think there were people who were coming for refuge in the place where these dragons live, or the town with these dragon riders, and the dragon riders think that they're being attacked. But when they go out to meet these people, they find out that they're looking for solace, or they're looking for, what's the word, when you're running away from a war? They're refugees, and I can't think of the word that they're looking for. You know what I'm talking about, this. They're looking for safety. And so it's kind of in the age of war, how these dragons mix in this world. And it seems like a world at war with warrior dragons. I'm in. The last one is super interesting, The Helm of Midnight. Now this one seems really unique. It's like a thriller fantasy almost. So there's this mask or helm that is imbued with the spirit of a serial killer from the past. And these thieves take it, and this serial killer's spirit becomes reincarnated, and it starts killing again in the present. So it seems like it's like the main characters have to figure out how to stop this spirit, but it's also got this otherworldly fantasy aspect. And I don't know, the blending of those two just sounds so unique. And I'm really excited to pick this one up. This one should be coming out in April of 2021, and Black Coast is in February of 2021. That concludes my most anticipated reads for 2021. Will I read all of them? Probably not, but they're all on my TBR, and I hope to get to them sooner rather than later. Have you heard of any of these? Let me know in the comments down below. But for now, I'm gonna head out. Jenny!